portion of the following program contains sports betting analysis. Fight IQ provides analysis and personal insights for entertainment purposes only. There are no guarantees inside the Octagon. Please gamble responsibly. All wagers involve risk. Viewers are encouraged to bet within their means. Fight IQ and the ETB network are not responsible for any financial losses. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
They call it the puncher's chance for a reason. Because in the cage, logic can be shattered in a split second. But where the world sees luck, we see an opening. We're stripping away the emotion and looking at the math of the matchup. Every dog has its day, and every favorite has a price. It's time to separate the noise from the payday. Lock in. This is Fight IQ, the puncher's chance. Your guide to this weekend's best bets in MMA. And now, here's your host, Tom Albano.
All right, people, it's time to throw the chips on the table. It's time to make plays. It's time to make moves. And this time, I'm not alone. Welcome, everybody, to a special UFC 329 edition of Fight IQ, the Puncher's Chance. My name is Tom Albano, as always. Good to see you all here on this special Saturday in July. It's International Fight Week. There's so much that goes through, so little time. Well, we got an hour anyways. Usually this is a half-hour program. This is going to be a 1-hour program this week. And most of all, I'm not alone this week. My buddy Zain Bando is here. Zain, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Tom? Thanks for having me as always. And we're just hours away from the first prelim of the night. And thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me. Obviously, when this was announced as being a Conor McGregor fight week, we knew we were in for something. And, well, here we are. Zain, I said it on the Monday night show. I never thought that I was going to say it. But, Zain, I'll say it again. Just for you and your ears, because I know you're here and Nick Morganson is watching. I believe it. I believe it. It's happening.
Okay.
It's so unreal, but here we are. So buckle up, because there's a lot that we got to go through and a lot that we got to break down. But of course, first things first, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you get notified of everything here at the ETB network, whether it be Fight IQ the Puncher's Chance, Bando's Breakdowns, Zain Zinger Part 2, ETB Sports, and everything else that you do at this network, Zain. ETB Lounge as well. And those of you who are watching on our X platforms, we appreciate it. Hit the like button, hit the repost and quote post, or retweet and quote tweet, as us old heads like to say. But then make sure to come over to the YouTube home, youtube.com/ETB network. And then help subscribe there and do the same steps over there that I just mentioned, and help us grow on that platform. We're at 1,130 plus subscribers, and we're trying to grow the watch hours and the subscriber numbers, and hopefully grow this platform here. And then, of course, make sure to follow the show at Fight IQ ETB, follow Zain's show at Bando's Breakdowns, and then you can follow us across social media. You see our name tags here with our social media handles. I'm at Thomas J. Albano, Zain's at Zanbando99, and you can follow the ETB network, at ETB network. Believe.
Yeah.
Believe, yes. I believe in this. Believe in this. Believe in this like we have the belief of Santa Claus in December.
No kidding. In about 10 hours, it'll turn from a believe to a actual
What's happening?
reality. Knock on wood, barring that nothing happens in the next 9 hours leading up to it.
Well, I did. Well, I think I did jinx things on Tough Enough the last time we talked when I said that he was going to break his leg onto the way to the Octagon.
Yeah, hopefully what you said did not come true, because that would be a
Probably,
travesty.
probably when he's doing his signature.
Billionaire strut.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. I think
Don't speak it into existence. You will have a lot of angry people tonight if that is the case.
I might already have a lot of angry people on me right now when I give my fight prediction.
Okay, fair enough.
And speaking of, you know what? We got a lot of because we're going to break down each of the main card fights. We're going to talk about the prelims, and then of course this is Fight IQ, the puncher's chance. So we got to do some picks. We got to do some best bets.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think so. You know what, Zan? Screw it. Let's jump right into it.
Okay.
It's the fight we're talking about.
Well, listen, and before we get into the fight, just a pro tip, because I'm not usually on this program. We actually did really well on the last UFC event from Baku, going 12-1. So we're hoping for it'll be some more, I guess, more of a magical run and more magical luck tonight. And I got a text from someone pretty close to me saying that they agree with me on my first 9 prelim / main card picks. So you're in for an interesting night if a lot of people are starting to agree with you on hours notice, and it's very interesting. But yeah, to get into this fight, to begin here, I'll let you take the lead because this is your show, and I'm just kind of along for the ride.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate the 160 plus of you now that are joining us for this show. So that's, usually we get to this point a little ways through the program. We're only a few minutes in and we're already over 150 people watching.
Wait a minute, Tom, I just realized something. This is the first Conor McGregor fight that you and I ever get to preview since we started doing this. You've never actually had a chance
I was going to get to that. The last time Conor McGregor fought, almost all, maybe just one, maybe it was just ETV Sports, is the only program on this network that existed.
And it was such a long time ago that I was there. That's how long ago it was.
San, I was still a couple of months away from my first year of teaching.
No way.
That's how long it's been.
No
I wasn't
way.
at MMA News. I wasn't at Deadspin. I was still, actually, I think we were still at Fanside.
Fanside at the time. Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, here we are. So it's been almost 5 years exactly to the day.
It was 5 years exactly as of last night, July 10th.
Oh, there you go. I was just about to Google it. Perfect. So 5 years.
And it's exactly 11 years to the exact day that he knocked out Chad Mendes. It was 11 years ago today.
Yeah, that was the last time Conor McGregor headlined International Fight Week, because that Dustin Poirier fight, it had the feeling of International Fight Week, and it was more International Fight Week than the actual International Fight Week.
Yeah. But well said.
Thanks, COVID.
Well, listen, because that one, from what I recall, was in September of 21. They had to move everything around.
Yeah, because everybody was still coming back from COVID at that point.
That is crazy. That's how long it's been. But yeah, for sure. So with that in mind, it's the first time we'll ever get a chance, and maybe the only time we'll ever get a chance to preview a Conor McGregor UFC fight, and he happens to be fighting someone he's very familiar with, Max Holloway, 13 years in the making. They fought all the way back at the TD Garden in Boston. Sorry, I just gave away part of an answer to one of your trivia questions on
you didn't say what the significance of that card was.
Oh, am I allowed to, or am I not allowed to?
Nah, it's been almost a week. You can go ahead. The program is going to be tomorrow, which we're going to talk about. There's a programming note.
Okay, so if you tell me if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure it was the first UFC event on Fox Sports 1.
Yep, on the very first day of Fox Sports 1.
Sports 1, that's right, yeah. That's right, they had that 24-hour UFC marathon. I remember that.
I remember getting up to watch the launch of Fox Sports 1 because that was the time they got the TSN Sports Center guys to have their
That's
own
right.
show.
I remember that.
Regis Philbin had his own show.
That's right. Katie Nolan had her own
Katie
show.
Nolan had her own show.
It was UFC Tonight back then, if you remember
Yeah.
that. That used to be appointment viewing before social media blew up.
And by the way, to complete the answer to the question, the main event of that card was Chael P. Sonnen defeating Shogun Rua.
That's correct. Yeah, it was. That's exactly right.
And that exactly, Nick. Jay and Dan, garbage time, crowd goes wild. Yep.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
The good
100%
days.
right. Yeah.
All right. And yes, I see your question, Nick. We'll get to it in a sec, but let's talk about the fight itself because obviously it's been 5 years. And I don't think this point can be harped on enough because, on one hand, we see Conor McGregor at the press conference and there was a lot of split. You had people saying, oh, this is vintage McGregor. He's back. He's locked in. And to add to that, the idea of, you talked about on your show, Zain, the fight prep pictures, the fight prep footage,
Yeah.
his body looks and now how he was talking and how basically he wasn't taking shots at Dustin Poirier. However, since then, last night he did an interview where he did take a shot at Dustin Poirier. So, but I think the point to it is that you're seeing some sort of more locked in Conor McGregor, and you talk about how serious he's taking this fight. Could he be taking this a little more serious? The Poirier comment from last night kind of has me a little bit. Maybe he's a little in over his head or a little too seeing all the attention that he's getting. But at the flip side, he seemed locked in. He seemed ready in training. The weight cut, when I saw the weigh-ins yesterday, I was a little concerned, but that might be part of the ring rust that it's been 5 years since he's had to do a weight cut, even if it was only to 170.
Right. And I'm sorry if this sounds weird, but did you see the cupping on the side of his face?
Yeah, I did.
That was a little bit interesting.
And it's funny because Max, here's why people, I think, are flocking, and I'm not saying everybody, but a certain number of people in the fan base of the UFC are flocking to Conor over to Max. Because, to be fair, this is the one thing that Conor has on Max. Conor has fought at welterweight before.
He sure has.
He fought the 2 Nate Diaz fights at welterweight, and he fought the Cowboy fight at welterweight. Max, we haven't seen at 170. We've barely seen Max at 155. He had the fight with Dustin. He had the fight with actually 2 fights with Dustin. He had the fight with Gaethje and the fight with Oliveira. And I think maybe he might have had a couple of fights at lightweight before he got into the UFC.
He might have, like, on the Hawaii regionals team, but
right.
But
that's not the UFC.
Right, exactly.
So we're barely seeing him have the adjustment to lightweight, and now he's got to go up another 15 pounds. And yet, when I looked at the weigh-ins yesterday, he looked in better, condition. Like he took the weight cut well than Conor did.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did for sure. Oh, let me just talk about that for a second. So you had mentioned the weigh-ins. Have you seen this thing going out around social media? It's kind of going viral. It sort of has a mind of its own. It's called the line test. Have you seen this? Where it's
sort of a line test, but I don't really look into it. At least not by its name.
Fair. I was just saying that I guess apparently somebody's done a video on the line test of every single face-off between these two, and every video it said the same thing, that McGregor has like a better line test, kind of eye test look, if you will, in every single face-off thus far than Holloway does, which I thought was very interesting.
That seems very weird that you're trying to. I mean, I guess it's part of reading body language.
Also, the line test theory kind of gets debunked because somebody went back and looked at the Topuria Gaethje with. Apparently, Gaethje lost the line test and still won the fight anyway. So I don't know how much validity it has.
I'm not.
Yeah,
many variables, and again, I think when you look at the breakdown of this fight, Conor McGregor, it's been 5 years. You could talk about all the training that you want. You could talk about all the fight preparations and the sparring that you want. Fighting in the Octagon is a different story from that, especially when you're going up against Max Holloway, who has, maybe not accomplished in terms of financials to the point of Conor McGregor. When you look at Octagon's success, he's accomplished just as much, if not more, than Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think he said 9 fights since McGregor's been out, right?
So after he lost to McGregor was that win streak. It was like 9 or 10 fights where he didn't lose for 6 years.
Right.
He won the featherweight title. I mean, he won the interim featherweight title and he won the undisputed featherweight title. But since then, since he's lost to Poirier, that interim title fight, he's only about 500 since then.
I think it's 7-6 or something like that.
Yeah, but the thing is about that, the counter you can make to that is 3 of those losses are to the same guy.
Right, to Volk.
Right.
And a lot of people believe he won one of those fights.
Correct.
So,
And then for Poirier, he ended up getting that win back in the BMF fight that was Poirier's retirement fight.
Right, exactly. Yep.
So when I look at that, when I see that 7-6, I still think that's much better, much more assuring than a guy who hasn't fought in 5 years. And ever since he took the hiatus the first time to fight Floyd, he's what, like 1-2, 1-3 in the Octagon?
So it's great that you asked that. He's 3-4 in his last 7, and he's lost back-to-back fights to Poirier.
Yeah, and I mean, you stretch back,
and he's only won 2 fights in nearly a decade.
Right, and that's why I'm going back. When we talk about Conor McGregor, we could talk about the first Holloway fight, which, by the way, I watched last weekend when during 4th of July festivities. We had it on the TV, and we're looking at the smart TV channel with the UFC on it. Conor, he got the better of Max consistently, but even his ground game at the time wasn't great. Even though he was dominating Holloway on the ground, it wasn't.
And he got hurt in that fight too, so I think it lingered on him a little bit.
Right, he was out of action for nearly a year because of the leg injury.
Mm-hmm.
Because then he had to have a tune-up fight, and then he fought Poirier the first time.
Exactly. Do you want to know a fun fact about the first Max Holloway fight that you may not remember?
What's that?
I'm gonna quiz you, and I'm gonna see if you can get this. Who was supposed to be Conor McGregor's original opponent before Max Holloway?
Oh my God! That wasn't the original. What was it? Who was it?
Andy Ogle, Tom.
God. Could you imagine if we had Conor McGregor versus Andy Ogle instead?
Well, I can guarantee you we wouldn't be sitting here right now. I can tell you that.
We still might have, because you know what? That probably tells me that they were looking to boost Conor McGregor and give him a big win in Boston, of all places.
Yeah, well said. Because if you remember, he knocked out Marcus Brimage, and in the locker room, Dana was so impressed. He said, "Hey, do you want to fight at TD Garden?" And McGregor said, "Yeah, sure."
I remember that. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, going back to my point, the ring rust is always going to be a concern to me. Now, obviously, we've seen circumstances where GSP didn't fight for 4 years. John Jones didn't fight for 3 years, and they still looked great. And, they won championships. Going up against somebody like Max Holloway is a concern for me, only because I feel like, you look at Conor's most recent fights, and again, it's hard for me. I understand Conor's legacy and Conor's history, and that he's the first champ in UFC history. But when I'm talking about this fight, I can only go back as far as 2018, because it feels like when he took that first hiatus, when he ended up facing Floyd, something changed at that point.
I think so too, because there's always that hunch, which we'll never know, because we would be talking, and I don't mean to say it like this, but it's going to make you laugh. We're talking in conspiracy universes here. We will never know, without that Floyd Mayweather fight, what would have happened for that 1 year of his UFC career that he lost before the eventual Khabib fight.
Well, that's the thing, Zan. We could have gotten that Khabib fight earlier. We could have gotten Conor versus Tony. We could have seen Conor at welterweight on a permanent basis earlier, because maybe he goes up to welterweight and tries to do a lightweight welterweight simultaneous.
Right, which is what he was originally planning to do before the Diaz fights. He was supposed to fight RDA, and then he was going to eventually move up after that.
That's right.
That was the rumor that was going around at that point.
That's right. Good call.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up never seeing that RDA fight ever.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of those what could have been. Yeah, $100 million changed perspective of Conor. Like when he,
I would say so.
When he
even admitted it.
Mm-hmm. And when he fought Floyd, it was like he didn't ever have to fight again. And then what ended up happening? He had the long-awaited Khabib fight, got all that money, and it got embarrassed. Got embarrassed by Khabib. Then
and some argue, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but some argue that Khabib fight, when it happened, was technically undeserved because of all the stuff that had happened leading up to it.
Right. It had been 2 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up getting suspended for most of 2019 alongside Khabib because of their fracas afterward.
Right.
Then he fights Cowboy. And look, I know it's a win, but and I hate saying this because I'm a Cowboy fan.
I am too, dude.
That was not the same Cowboy.
No, it wasn't.
So it just was not the same Cowboy. So that's why everyone says legitimate win. Because if you're talking about Conor's last win, yeah, against Cowboy. But his last legitimate win, he hasn't done anything since he became champ when he beat Eddie.
Yeah, exactly. And that even changed the entire perception of Eddie Alvarez's career in light of that fight as well. But I just wanted to make something very clear before we get deeper into our predictions. I'm just going to be brutally honest. If Conor McGregor cannot knock out Max Holloway within the first 5 minutes, I think it's going to be a long, brutal night for him.
You agree? Oh my God, we have the same opinion. Good, because that's the thing, and Conor McGregor is a fighter, that has taken attention, and a lot of his success comes from the fact that he finishes fast. Precision beats power and timing beats speed and all of that.
No, it's true. That is when he famously said, you are 100% right.
And honestly, if we can go back, if you don't mind me pulling up Wikipedia for a second to look at Conor's fight record.
No, I don't mind. By the way, his record overall is 22-6.
I know, but there's something I want to point out to it. All right.
Sure. Okay.
So the two Poirier fights was lost in the first round, lost in the second. Cerrone, that was a 40-second win. Khabib, fourth round finish, and he lost. Eddie Alvarez, that was a second round finish. Nate Diaz, majority decision. Before that, the first Diaz fight, second round loss. Jose Aldo, first round finish. Chad Mendes, late second round finish. Dennis Seaver, second round finish. Dustin, first round finish. Diego Brandao, first round finish. Are you seeing something here?
Yes.
That
so
with
if it goes to the second round, it's a danger zone.
Right. If you look at this, everything has been first round or second round finish, with the exception of the Holloway fight, with the exception of the second Nate Diaz bout one that he won, and the Khabib fight, where I think part of that is Khabib just dragging it out, because I think he could have choked McGregor out in round 1 or 2.
Right, and if you remember, because I went back and looked, because it had been 8 years, a lot of the expert MMA media predictions at that time had Khabib winning late, and sure enough, he did. So,
yeah, but you know what? I think Khabib could have done it earlier, but he was playing with his food, if you will.
I think so too.
So my point is, and I was going to the point where you were talking about it, and the point that's going to go for both my fight prediction and my best bet. Okay. And that's Conor, for him to win, he has to get it done in the first round. He might be able to do it in round 2. But to your point that you're going to, Zan, you talk about the ability to take a punch. And on one hand, I should be concerned about Holloway being up at a new weight class and how he's going to be able to handle the power there. But, you can talk about the line test all you want. Holloway looked better at the weigh-in. Holloway, has fought a lot more with activity than Conor McGregor has. It's been 5 years. And, it's typical, and we'll talk about it with Kai Kamaka later as well. the Hawaiian Shin. If there is somebody who can take a punch, it's Max. Now, Max did get finished by Ilya, but I think Ilya's a different beast.
Yeah, and from what I recall, that's Holloway's only TKO loss in the UFC, right?
Correct.
That just goes to show how good his chin actually is.
Right. And don't forget, Holloway had already started to make the transition to lightweight and drop back down to featherweight for that fight.
Right, exactly.
So, all things aside, this is how the fight is going. Conor has to win. I'm going to say within the first 7.5 minutes. If we get to the halfway point of round 2, Max is winning this fight.
I think so too.
And I would, if I can make a
unless Holloway does the unthinkable and gasses in the 4th round, and then the fight totally changes. But I highly doubt that.
See, Max has to use his fight IQ. He cannot get into, I know Max, the point down and the wild brawl. He can't. If he allows himself to get into a wild brawl with Conor McGregor from the get-go, he's losing the fight.
Something tells me he might actually do it just to see if he can handle it, which would be a terrible mistake.
That would be terrible. That would be absolutely brutal. And I only say that because could he in that moment knock out Conor? Sure. Because I mean, he did it to Gaethje, but I want, for Max to win, I want him to fight smart. And the smart thing to do is weather Conor McGregor's early storm. And then if he manages to survive and get the fight into round 2, Conor's going to be gassed. Or he manages to, stay back and use Conor's own accuracy and timing against him to land a counter shot to knock Conor out.
Well said. So you were kind of alluding to it a few minutes ago. What is your official pick for the main event? And then I'll get into mine.
I would love to sit here because for years on our old program, I said when Conor came back, even against Chandler, I said 1 round. I think that Holloway could knock him out 1. I'll give Conor and his fans a little benefit of the doubt. I'll go 2. I'll say round.
Wow, Tom, we have the exact same identical pick for the main event.
That said, I'm not going to completely, say that that Conor has no shot, A, or B, that Max can't get it done in the first round. I think this fight, and this is going to lead right into my best bet, this fight ain't lasting more than 10 minutes.
I don't think so either.
So my best bet, to maybe ease the McGregor crowd a little more, my best bet does not involve either man in terms of wins. My best bet is, and I'll show it a little later when we do the best bet section and we get the DraftKings stuff up. My best bet is going to be fight to not start round 3, which is like plus 120 last I checked, I think.
Okay. So you're gonna be sweating for about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I could see this fight going into the early 3rd as well, but considering Conor's history and the value plays that are here, because I think if you go to round 3, the no is a minus something. I'm going to say fight to not start round 3.
Okay, and before we move on, Tom, I think we would be doing ourselves a complete disservice if we didn't at least spend a few minutes on this program talking about the scenarios for both of these guys, depending on who wins.
Okay. I know why you're saying that because of a little clip that has now started to go around the ETV network of yours truly and my little rant.
Well, that's partially it, but it's also partially because of something else. But I'll let you continue.
All right, you know what? Let's get to Nick Warrison's comment first because he's been waiting and just.
Okay, I personally don't think so.
Sorry to do this to you, Nick.
I personally don't think
dead
so.
In the water. That's dead.
That's dead completely. That's what I was going to get to. So Dana White did an interview with Oscar Willis. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet.
Well, I saw it. I did. I thought you were going to go in the direction of the press conference when I think it might have been Willis stayed and Dana talked about 5 different scenarios if Conor
that's
wins,
exactly
3 different scenarios if he loses.
That's exactly it. So I was gonna I was going to give you what I think my 5 scenarios are. If
Okay.
you're curious, this
Shoot
is
shot.
this is if McGregor wins. Okay, so they could go in 5 different directions, no particular order. They could do a Max Holloway trilogy fight because it is 1-1. So technically, if you really wanted to do a third fight and for the heck of it,
Will that be one of the scenarios you mean if Conor loses?
that would be correct. Now, for the scenarios where if he wins, the 5 to me are pretty self-explanatory. You could do an Islam Makhachev title fight at welterweight. You could do a Justin Gaethje fight at lightweight. You could do a Nate Diaz trilogy fight. You could do a Charles Oliveira BMF fight, or the outlier, which is the one that I don't think is going to happen, and that's why I'm putting it at number 5, is the inevitable try to run back the Chandler fight, which I don't think is possible. So if you were to really quantify it, 4 to the 5, I think are in play if he wins.
Exactly, Nick. There's a better chance of Conor Crawford than there is Conor Chandler at this point.
I would say so. I would say so.
Not because Conor Crawford is doable, but because Conor Chandler, I think, is dead in the water with the way Chandler's been losing.
Right. And what would your 5 scenarios be? Do you agree with some of them? Do you disagree?
I'll agree with you on the on the 3 title fights. I'll agree. Nate Diaz is all. I think Nate Diaz is an option in either of the win or lose scenarios.
I think so too. I think so too.
I guess the Chandler fight, but I'm sure there's. I forget who asked it in the media, but I know Dana White is very pissed at this person because I know Conor was asked on Thursday's press conference, would you entertain the idea of a Floyd rematch in Zuffa boxing? And Conor said, yes, absolutely, like right away.
Yeah, I have no idea who that media member was, but I actually took it as that Dana technically didn't say no. So I actually took it as that if they really wanted to consider it, that they might actually
I think he would only consider Conor in Zuffa boxing just to ensure that he doesn't take any sort of fight with MVP.
I think so too.
All right, but now this goes to the point, because I know you were talking about all these scenarios, but my hot take is, Zain, I could honestly see the UFC sidelining Conor McGregor. This might be his last fight in the Octagon. And it has nothing to do with his performance. Okay. Because as of this point, you know, we talked that Conor has signed a new contract, but it only involves, if I'm not mistaken, the transition from pay-per-view.
That's correct.
It has nothing to do with the number of fights.
Correct. It's only modified in that regard. That's how I understand it.
So after tonight, Conor only has 1 fight left on his deal.
Mm-hmm.
So now, to your credit, where you mentioned the title fights, if Conor wins, they could roll the dice, because if he wins a championship, that adds time onto the contract.
Yeah, that would add at least another year.
And here's the thing to that. So that's why I said on Fight IQ on Monday, what Conor wants and what the UFC wants aren't all aligning, because now if Conor wins tonight, they roll the dice and Conor loses a title fight, because I'm sorry, if he fights Islam, he's getting mauled, probably worse than what Khabib did to him. And now all of a sudden Conor's a free agent, and he's not going to sign with a TKO-led UFC, because remember, this is also Conor's first time under TKO.
Right. Yeah.
It's always been with the Fertitta brothers and Dana in Zuffa, or with WME IMG. And you've been seeing what TKO is doing with the cost cutting over at their buddies at WWE. I don't think, they're going to want to sign for the amount of money that Conor McGregor is going to want to sign for. Now you could say, oh, UFC standardized contract, but Conor McGregor is a different beast.
He's a different beast. And somebody else, I don't remember who said this, but somebody made a great point. They're like, they are not willing to risk their stocks potentially tanking. But what they're going to do is they're going to sideline him for as long as they can to try to build as much leverage as possible. It's something I've said for weeks. They're going to try to milk his last fight for as long as they can.
Right. That's why, win or lose, I don't see him fighting in April 2027 like he says.
You don't Yeah, I thought you were going to say you don't see him fighting in December like Max wants him to.
Or I don't see that either, obviously.
So you actually don't think that April 2027 will even happen?
Man, I mean it. I think this might be the final time we see Conor McGregor in the cage.
That would be pretty staggering if
because Zain, you're about to enter the deadlock period again, where Conor's going to want to fight it out and get released. And because here's the other thing. As much as we're talking about standardized contracts, as much as we're talking about TKO bottom line profits over everything else, look at the numbers on social media. Dana just said at the Thursday's press conference, already the highest gate in UFC history.
$25 million.
Right. They're going to be massive Paramount Plus numbers. So, on one hand, you can use the $7.7 billion reasoning that they don't ever have to worry about anything again because of all the money they got from Paramount. But on the other hand, I don't think Paramount is that stupid. I don't think TKO is that stupid. The suits above Dana, like Ari and such. They know the numbers that Conor can do. And what else goes in their favor is if, again, and I talked about this on ETV Sports, I think a while back during the last Conor controversies or not, when Conor, because they're at such deadlock, you know what they can do if Conor's in any sort of controversy, or even if he's not in any sort of controversy?
Just sit back and wait and do nothing.
Right.
Which is exactly what they did a year ago when all that other stuff was coming out with him and Ireland, with all the aforementioned legal stuff that everybody's starting to talk about.
Because right now they have some sort of leverage where they don't, and I have said this on Monday. I was talking to a student of mine on the last day, and on the last day of school, and he said, you know what they can do? They can just go, all right, Conor, we need to do the 3 fights thing. How about you versus Jim Miller? How about you versus, we pulled Dennis Seaver out of retirement? They'll just offer him real crap fights. And then if anything blows up, Dana and company can go to media and say, well, we offered him fights.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
So
but see where I somewhat disagree with you is I think from a business standpoint, wouldn't they want him to win?
Oh, no, you're right. They would want him to win. I'm saying if Conor wins, getting a title actually hurts what he wants more than it actually helps him.
Right, because then he would be essentially stuck until his contract is sunsetted or something else catastrophic happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you could tell even from the business practice and the interviews that he did with Ariel, he wants to fight Mike Perry in BKFC. He wants to box Jake Paul if it's possible. He wants to box any sort of star at this point and have an MVP style bout. He wants to make a ton of money.
Can you really blame him at this point in his career? I really can't.
That's my point. We are at such clash, such deadlock until one side blinks. And I don't know if either side's going to blink. And if no side blinks, then Conor McGregor may as well lay his gloves down in the center of the octagon and say, thank you very much. Not because he can't do it, but because he's screwed business-wise unless he's willing to sign another contract or he's able to negotiate some sort of big fight that the UFC can't pass up on.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out in 9 to 10 hours if any of that is possible. The final. Oh, yeah, I actually 100% agree with this.
Yeah, it actually could. My point isn't so much about what he wants to do next, Nick. My point is whatever he wants to do next, whether it's this, whether he goes to BKFC, whether he tries to pursue a freaking Floyd rematch again. He's not doing anything because right now Dana and UFC and TKO are not going to let him.
No, they're not going to let him, number one, and number two, as long as it drives business. I think they want him a part of it.
Right.
And also, you want to talk about something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. This is his first technically, if you really want to quantify it, is this his first non-pay-per-view fight in 13 years. Anybody can watch this fight. There's no barrier to entry to watch it. It's part of a standard subscription. Paramount knows exactly what it's doing. And from the CBS angle of it, I tried to make this clear earlier this week on one of my shows that I think the reason why CBS has so little involvement in this fight is simply because they want to drive as many Paramount subscribers as they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why.
That's why none of Freedom 250 was on either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's, as much as I want to talk about this fight for the whole hour, we still got more that we got to talk about. So we have more of the main card that we got to talk about. We'll talk about some prelims. We'll do some best bets. However, give me just 1 second here because there is something that I do need to have a little word with you all about, and that's with the ETB Lounge. That's another big weekend show here at the ETB Network, which I'm sure they'll probably end up touching upon this at some point. But the weekend's almost over. But the conversation is just heating up. Kick back in the ETB Lounge with Cal McClurg and Nick DiMartino every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Join us for our 2-hour live format where we unite the full panel of ETB hosts to break down a pivotal day in sports. From the prestige narratives of major championships and MLB afternoon slates to the chaos of the NBA playoff picture, we cover it all. Whether you're here for the happy hour prestige or the spillage, where we roast the day's biggest blunders and gambling bad beats, the Lounge is your home for sports therapy. Only on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. And Zan, I hope you and I don't end up on the spillage tomorrow after what we do tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we don't. It should be an interesting stream, though. I'm excited to see how it all plays out with those guys, and hopefully they end up touching on this at some point, because besides all the World Cup madness that's coming up in a matter of hours, this is the other major sporting event that's taking place. So
yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, it's the last MLB weekend before All-Star festivities.
Right. With the All-Star festivities in Philadelphia, more specifically. Isn't that right?
Yep. All right. Let's get to the co-main events of the evening. Pivotal matchup at lightweight. Speaking of, you got number 5 ranked Benoit Saint-Denis taking on number 6 ranked Paddy Pimblett. This is BSD is riding a 4-fight win streak, all finishes, which includes a finish of Mauricio Ruffi that is aged like fine wine, by the way.
It really has, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then for Paddy, this is his opportunity to rebound after losing the interim title fight to Gaethje earlier this year. That was his first UFC loss.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He had never tasted defeat in the UFC, so we'll see how he bounces back. Tom, this is the moment you've been waiting for. I told you I had a bold prediction for this. I think Paddy Pimblett's getting knocked out.
Ooh! You think BSD continues their streak?
Yeah, I do. I think he knocks him out in the second round. Yeah, I do.
I like this.
Yeah,
I think, look, I'm going to agree with you with BSD winning. I don't know if I'd go far with the knockout just because Paddy took it really well from Gaethje over 25.
He is a stud. I would not be surprised if this went the full 15 minutes.
But I agree. But I'm glad you say that because I do agree with you. I'm concerned that BSD's finishing momentum combined with his experience. And, I think BSD is like 7-3 in the Octagon at this point.
I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
I wrote it down somewhere in one of my articles, but I don't have the time to look at it right now. But BSD is on such a winning streak. His only losses in the UFC, I know he lost he lost his UFC debut, he lost to Poirier, and he lost to Moicano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and BSD, by the way, is 17-3 overall in the UFC, though, because you were curious about this. In the UFC, his record is 9-3. You are correct, 9-3 with all, with 5 of those wins coming by knockout.
So at the point that we're coming to, BSD feels like he is coming into his own, comes into his prime. I don't know if Paddy's ready for that.
Yeah.
I think this is, if we're talking about, good matchmaking, this is a solid matchup.
And you want to know how good BSD is? Tom, BSD has never lost back-to-back fights in his MMA career. It's never happened.
Let's go into the point I was going to. If we're talking about good matchups, this is a definition good matchup. Mm-hmm. If you're talking about matchups to protect Paddy Pimblett, this is not good for him.
No, it's not. It certainly isn't. You got it. You got a tough guy in Gaethje, who's a hard puncher and a really good boxer, and now you're fighting a guy who's a volume striker and a nasty finisher. Only a couple months after your last appearance in the same venue in which you lost the interim UFC lightweight title fight. This is not a good look, but this certainly does show, or at least the UFC is sending a message. You need to still prove that you can hang with the top contenders, because you couldn't beat Gaethje. Let's see if you could beat the rest of the top 5.
Right.
So
I think at this point, this is whoever wins this fight, the UFC will strap the rocket launcher to.
I would say so. And I think there are a lot of interesting matchups for the winner of this, because of how stacked lightweight actually is. And you might end up running into some scenarios where, I'm sure you'd agree, you might run into some scenarios where you could see, loser of X fights the winner of this fight because of how crowded the division actually is.
Right. And I mean, Patty is right in one regard. The interview he did last week where he said, I'm not going to wait for Ilya, because I don't think Ilya's fighting again until maybe mid next year. With the way
I don't think so either. And now the question that I have for you is this, and I don't mean to bring it back to the main event, but there's all this commotion right now. Do you think, in all likelihood, the UFC pushes for this rematch between Ilya and Gaethje, or do you think they go in a different direction?
Different direction. I don't think they're going to wait.
Really? Okay.
Especially when Gaethje's, contemplating the end of his career.
Right. And he said in a recent interview on the during the, I think it was the World MMA Awards or on the UFC Hall of Fame red carpet, that he still hasn't made a decision as to what he wants to do.
Right. Because on one hand, I would love to see a Gaethje title defense. On the other hand, I don't know how better to end your career than what you saw at the White House.
I don't think so either, but I'm going to go back to what I said a few weeks ago, and it kind of blew up on X a little bit. By the way, that's a tease to follow me on X, because sometimes I do drop some heaters that do get some pretty good traction. I did say that Gaethje would be making a mistake by turning down a title defense because of potentially more life-changing money that he could earn based on who he's fighting. And he can say at least he attempted or defended his title at least once before officially walking away. But to be arguably the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, there really isn't a trade-off either way. Whatever decision he makes is probably a good one, regardless of how you slice or dice it.
And like you, I'll bring it back to the main event as well. I'm wondering if he's waiting to see the winner of this fight and the winner of McGregor versus Holloway.
I think so. Because who knows? Maybe he wants a tougher fight based on who's more impressive. Maybe he wants that marquee name in either McGregor or Holloway.
Say, maybe he's thinking about retirement, but on the off chance McGregor wins, and he could have the chance to get that McGregor money.
Yeah, which is a fight that he still has not crossed paths with, which I'm sure is what he's hoping for, because he doesn't want to fight Holloway again and lose to Holloway in the fashion that he did last time.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
No. So I think if I'm Justin Gaethje, I'm rooting as hard as I can for Conor McGregor, because that is the definition of a fresh matchup if I've ever seen one. So,
or if you're going to go the fresh matchup route, maybe he's rooting for BSD in this one.
Right, considering that he already beat Patty. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Unless he just wants a win, and then he can root for Patty.
100%. Pretty much what we're saying, or long and short of it, is whichever outcome happens tonight, I think is potentially very good news for Justin Gaethje. I would say that's pretty much for damn sure.
Pretty much. All right, another rematch on the main card. Corey Sandhagen taking on Mario Batista. A rematch from January of 2019. I think it might have been the first UFC ESPN card.
I'm going to double fact check that for you, because that is an interesting thought. Sandhagen comes into this fight at 18-6, by the way.
Sandhagen versus Batista won. One of the top submissions of the year of 2019 on Tapology, by the way. January 19th in New York. Yes, it was the first UFC.
Wow. Yeah,
you have a rematch from the first Fox card and the rematch. I mean, Fox Sports 1 card and the rematch from the first ESPN Plus card.
That's weird. That's really weird.
We've come full circle, Zan.
We really have.
As far as
it's the triangle effect, Tom.
Triangle effect.
I don't know. I thought there was such thing as the MMA love triangle, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't officially apply here with all of these rematches. But anyway, carrying on. What were you saying?
Sorry, you threw me for a loop. Can you start this one and then I'll get back to you in a sec?
Sure. So obviously this fight took place a very long time ago when Sandhagen and Batista were still very green. Obviously these two are now very much experienced. Sandhagen's fought for the title. Batista's looking for a signature win to stay in that upper echelon. I think this fight goes pretty differently than the last one. It's because of how much better these guys have gotten over the years. But what do you think?
Hold on. I'm trying to pull up my okay. So when I looked at this fight when I was doing my MMA news preview, I said one thing that's, notable about this matchup is the ground game for this, because Batista can find takedowns and Sandhagen can struggle with being taken out. He was taken down by Figgy, taken down by Marab, but one, those guys are another level, and two, just because Sandhagen gets taken down, against somebody like Batista, I feel like Sandhagen, even on the ground, can perform well.
Yeah, I think so.
No matter how they get there.
Right. Hopefully it's not one of those Davison Figueiredo situations where the fight barely just got started and then instantly it's over because of an injury, if you know what I mean.
Right. I think this is going to be a pressure battle for Corey Sandhagen because, of course, he's struggling to make sure that he stays at the top. Because the only people that Corey Sandhagen loses to are guys like Umar, are guys like Marab, guys who actually get to the top of the division.
Right. Exactly.
So this is basically this is a gatekeeper matchup. If Corey loses his fight, he's going to be the gatekeeper of the division.
Yeah, and you'll never see him get a title shot again if he loses this fight, I don't think.
Right. So for Corey, it's going to be a matter of getting his offense started right away. He's got to be able to take control of Batista right from the get-go.
And he has to take Batista's cardio completely out of it, and I'm sure you 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and I think Sandhagen's experience with the upper echelon will help him here. I'm going to go Sandhagen by decision.
I'm taking Sandhagen by decision as well.
Man, we seem to be on some sort of wavelength so far.
I would think so.
All right. Pivotal flyweight fight, Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanagh. So Royval, another one of these bridesmaids, never the bride scenario. He loses to the best, lost to Pantoja, lost to Moreno, ended up getting a win back over Moreno, lost to Kopp. And I know he got knocked out of the fight, but like James Lynch said on his stream earlier this week, I feel like that's just it's like what we talked about with Ilya with Max. That Kopp's just a different beast in the flyweight division.
He really is. And I know I have to bring it full circle because of course I do. Can you believe that now, given the direction of the flyweight division, that Brandon Royval holds a win over Tatsuro Taira, and Taira was minutes away from beating Van before Van knocked him out?
And that's the thing. Royval, is also, that's why I said bridesmaid never the bride. He is another one of these guys that is an upper echelon fighter, but he just can't win the big one.
And this is one of them. I mean, they're obviously, look at the stock they're putting in Wani. They want him to be the future of Europe, right? And This is a big moment to show the U.S. audience who he actually is. This is a huge fight. I think there's more pressure on Royval than there is on Wani, just because of how green Wani still is.
Okay. I was gonna say, only because the one thing about this fight is we did see Lonnie get knocked out by Charles Johnson of all people.
Right, but to be fair, Charles Johnson finds a way to knock out anybody you least expect him to knock out, and he still does. Right.
Now, it's funny with Lonnie because on one hand he got knocked out by Charles Johnson, on the other hand he took a fight with Brandon Moreno on short notice and ended up destroying Moreno in that fight
in Mexico. Yeah, no kidding.
So I don't know. I'm still trying to get Lonnie is talented. I'm trying to get a read on where he fits within the division, if you know what I mean.
I think so too. I think the fast track is a little bit too fast for me, and I went conservative here and I took Royval, but I see a lot of people picking Wani, and I would not be surprised if he won.
Yeah, this is where we're going to disagree. I'm going to go with Kavanaugh. I just think, I think Royval's got some solid striking hands. I think Kavanaugh might be a little too quick for him.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm going to best bet this one, however, and it's not going to be on either fighter winning.
Okay.
Actually, I'll save it because we do have the best bet section, so I don't want to spoil everything.
Okay.
King Green versus Terrence McKinney. I'll tell you straight up how this fight's happening. McKinney is going to blitz him. McKinney has to win this fight in the first round.
I think so too. Because this fight only goes one of two ways. King Green wins a fight of the night decision, or Terrence McKinney knocks him out in the first round.
And I know King Green is still winning and doing great things at 39, but I think McKinney, again, is going to be a little too young, too fast, too quick, and too accurate with his punches.
This is where we disagree. I think King Green grinds out a really close fight. I think it's a really, really, really good fight where he barely edges it by split decision. I
think if King Green wins, he's finishing McKinney in round 1 or early round 2. I don't see this fight going 15 minutes.
See, this is where I disagree. This is the kind of veteran that McKinney needs to be tested with, and it's going to be a long, grueling 15 minutes.
All right. Well, so I guess
I think McKinney will gas by the middle of the second round after trying to finish him in the first round.
Oh, I think we agree on that. They're going to see McKinney blitz in the first round. It's just a matter of we disagree on how we think this is going. You say he's not going to be able to do it, and it's going to be a decision. I say he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, that is where we disagree. You are correct.
All right, cool. So now let's talk quickly about the prelims before we get to the best bets to wrap things up. I do want to note 2 prelims in particular. There's 2 prelim headliners. Robert Whittaker, another veteran, former champion, changing weight classes, going up 20 pounds to 205 to take on Nikita Krylov.
See, I listened to your episode earlier this week, so I kind of know where you're going with this fight already, and I think this is going to be another one where we disagree. I actually think championship experience is championship experience, and I know a 20-pound jump is huge, but I feel
especially in your mid-30s.
Especially in your mid-30s, but I just feel like maybe the moment might be too big for Nikita, but again, Nikita is knockout power himself. I think this is one of those where Whittaker will have to survive the early storm. If he can't do that, he'll probably lose. But I think this is one of those where the longer the fight goes, the more it favors Rob, and I'm actually going to pick Rob to win this fight over Nikita because I think this is one of those where, again, it goes one of two ways. Either Nikita is finishing Whittaker or Whittaker's grinding out a really tough fight across 15 minutes that I think has a chance, if it goes the way I think it will, to be a potential fight of the night contender.
So I guess you saw the episode, but you didn't read my MMA news article. I switched.
You did switch. Wow.
I switched. I went to Whittaker.
Okay.
I think you're right. The championship experience is going to play fat. Because the thing with Krylov, it's like that meme. Sometimes could be good, sometimes could be bleep. Bad.
Yeah.
4-letter word that begins with S. That's pretty much Krylov. He looks great in some fights, and then there are some fights he looks dog crap.
Yeah, if you think about it, Tom, he's 31-11. Would you agree, even without looking at his losses, that probably 4 of them he could have won if he had locked in a little bit more? I'm sure.
And the only guys who have, and again, it's something we've talked about with Whittaker in the past. When I was all DDP hype trained and everything, we're talking about Chimaev in the past. The guys who have finished Whittaker at middleweight are Israel Adesanya, DDP, and Chimaev. What do they all have in common?
3 former and or champions at some point.
They either in the latter 2 cases went on to win the title, or in the case of Izzy, when they fought Whittaker, beat him for the title.
Yep.
They're all champions. So I'll go with the championship experience. Now, if Whittaker loses this fight and gets knocked out badly, like we've seen with Krylov's best performances, we might have to consider a Whittaker retirement.
I think so too, which is very sad to say because 2 years ago, heading into the Aliskerov fight, I'm pretty sure he was still in a pretty good trajectory at that point. And then after that fight,
Well,
he has not looked the same.
Well, I'll add, unless I shouldn't necessarily say that, but if he gets knocked out and loses to Krylov, at that point, it's like, is Whitaker okay being, well, again, gatekeeper?
That's a question that only he can answer. And I think him being a prelim fight for the first time in 13 years is extremely telling. And that's nothing to do with him. That's more so with how deep the card is. But it still leads you to question, like, you know, it's been 13 years since he's been in this position. Like, could he have done a little bit more? And the argument maybe could have been, yeah.
Right. But again, sometimes the UFC's show structure is weird because sometimes you have a case where the main prelim gets featured more than like the second fight main card, first fight main card.
Right.
It has that weird structure to it. And then, of course, the other big headline from the UFC 329 prelims, the debut of Gable Steveson, which, you know, I know Gable Steveson has a lot of his detractors. I know Gable Steveson has tried multiple things since the Olympics and failed. But I also said on Monday, even if you're not Gable Stevenson's biggest fan or John Jones's biggest fan, because he's Jones's protege at this point,
right?
You know, the heavyweight division sucks. It's the most boring that we've seen the heavyweight division. And it's like what I said with Hogan last month. You know, you could hate him, and, you know, I definitely am not his biggest fan. But
I'm not either, but man, can he fight.
And he grabs attention, even if it's for the wrong reasons. And the UFC, the heavyweight division sucks. Last year, Rizan Kuniev lost his debut to Curtis Blades. And yes, Kuniev should have gotten the win, but off that loss, he was ranked 15.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
They need guys like Gable Steveson.
Right. And as someone who's interviewed Gable, I think Gable was very locked in even when I interviewed him. This was well before anybody knew what he was going to do, but I tried to get it out of him. He wouldn't give it to me. He kept saying in the interview, I have a plan. Well, now his plan is fully in motion and he's in the UFC, and now he has a chance to prove that he is all that, because the odds makers certainly think so. He's the biggest favorite in UFC history.
It's like minus 2,800 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he comes to this about 3-0, all finishes.
And Tom, not just finishes, they're like absolutely brutal. Every single one.
And Alicia Ellison is coming into this fight off a loss. I think this is he's going to be the sacrificial lamb.
That's what a lot of MMA content creators have said, and you are now one of them to say the same thing. This is a pure, I don't know if this is handpicked, but I think the UFC knows what it's doing here with this fight.
You know what this is? This is classic WWE professional wrestling style jobber match. The guy gets a very basic entrance or is already in the ring, and then they're going to put out the show for the other guy.
So, Tom, I have to know, if Elijah Ellison does the unthinkable, what are you going to do and what are you going to tweet if he does the unthinkable and he beats Gable Steveson?
I will probably just yell fraud check. That's what I'll do. I'll just yell fraud check. That's what it'll be at that point. If he loses to Alicia Ellison, that is major fraud check material.
Would you argue that even with the betting odds, would you consider it the biggest upset in UFC history?
Probably. And by the way, we're talking about odds. Give me a second here. Gable Steveson to win by KO, TKO, DQ in round 1 on DraftKings is only at a minus 200.
Which, by the way, that is my official pick. I think Gable knocks out.
Lock that.
Yeah, that's my pick. I think he wins by knockout in the first round.
So I don't understand odds makers. How is he a minus 2,800? Let me double check the odds. He is a. Oh, now this is interesting.
Okay.
DraftKings, his odds have dropped significantly to minus 1,350. I know it's still major weight. I know it's still major, favorite and underdog versus underdog, but that's a big drop.
Yeah, that's huge.
I guess people see the money coming in on Ellison and they're making those F-it bets. F-it, $5 on Ellison.
$5 on Ellison. Let's do it. Which, by the way, By the way, you may not know this. I am part of Sean Bitter's last man standing competition, and my survivor pick this week is Gables. Oh, he better win. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm just out of curiosity, if you bet the plus 800 money line on Alicia Ellison, you put $5 on it, you win $45.
Now, Tom, couple that one better. Do Conor McGregor by knockout part with oh, listen, I wonder if you could. I wonder if you could think about temporarily stepping away from what you're doing at the moment.
Let me see. All right. Yes, I can parlay that on DraftKings. The odds are plus 39.50. If you put a $5 bet on it, you win $202.50.
No way. No way.
That is a long shot. Oh, and by the way, you know what else is not helping Conor's favor out? Drake put the bet on him.
I know he did. By the way, if you recall, Drake bet on him to beat Floyd. He lost to Floyd. He bet on him to beat Khabib. He lost to Khabib.
Why is Drake getting involved in this?
because he's Drake. You have to remember, he's been loyal to McGregor for a very long time. So
very true.
This isn't a surprise.
All right, quickly, late prelims are going to be opening up with Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka III and Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. That Riley-Kamaka fight, underrated fight of the year contender in my opinion.
I think so. I think Luke Riley is one of the hottest prospects that we've seen in a long time. I think that'll be a great fight.
Another one of these guys.
Kamaka's no joke either. It should be good.
Yeah, no, Riley. Another one of these guys like Patty coming from Cage Warriors, looking like a solid all-rounder. And then you got Kai Kamaka, who's been with Bellator. He's been with UFC. He's been with PFL. He's been all around the block. And he's always producing entertaining fights no matter the organization he's in. And, like Max, Hawaiian-born with the solid Hawaiian chin.
Yeah.
Do I think Luke Riley can crack him? I think Luke Riley can get the better of him. I don't think he can crack him. Right. I have Riley winning this fight by decision.
I have Luke Riley winning this fight as well. Let me see what my method of victory was for this fight.
And as far as Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez, I know Yanez has been.
I have Riley by decision as well. You can continue with your Yanez analysis.
Okay, I know Yanez has been inconsistent of late, and he's not the prospect he once was, but I think Cody Garbrandt. Now, yeah, Cody's coming off a win, and he can still
a very weird win. It was
one of the weirdest wins in UFC history.
Yeah.
But still, I think Cody has taken too much damage over the years. His chin's not there anymore, and I think Yanez has the power to crack him.
I think so too. I think Yanez wins. My official pick is by knockout in the second round. That's my pick.
Let me see what I did. I didn't say a round. I just said Yanez by knockout or TKO.
Okay.
And then for the early prelims, Damian Pinas is a guy that I have a vested interest in. I think he is somebody who is slowly turning into another one of these guys that the UFC are going to put a lot of stock into. And pardon me, I think Weidman said on the weigh-in show that he has a lot of stock in Pinas as well.
Yeah, and then do you think that this is Wang Kong's fight to lose against Tracy Cortez?
I disagree. I haven't been impressed with Wang Kong as of late.
Valid, okay.
I think Tracy Cortez, the only people she's lost 2 of her last 3, but those names, Zan, Rose Namajunas and Erin Blanchfield.
Yeah, those aren't bad losses by any stretch. So,
I think Cortez's experience, and I think her. I mean, I'll read you the line from my analysis of the fight. This fight goes one of 2 ways. Kong's striking and volume is too much for Cortez, or Kong is unable to stop Cortez's takedowns and top control. I'm going to lean to the second.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it happening, but I do know this: it certainly won't be a boring fight. I can tell you that.
I would hope not. All right, best bets time to finish things off.
Yeah, sure. Here you go. You have the floor
All right.
now.
So here are my best bets for this weekend's card. I'm going to go. You want me to try to put these into a parlay and see what it looks like?
Sure, we could each do individual, or if you want to do, or if you want to do a joint one, we can parlay it together.
Maybe we can do both. Maybe we can do both. Let's see. All right. But my best bets. I'll use the bet slip here though to demonstrate my best bets for this card. All right. So here's, by the way, a criticism I have of DraftKings.
Okay.
You can't do a same game parlay where you pick a method of victory and a round or something like. You can't do that. I feel like that's lame.
Were you used to allowed to do that?
I don't think so. I'm just saying that it's lame.
Okay.
Because if you really want what I would have done for the Conor Max fight as my first best bet, I would have done a same game parlay of the KO, TKO, DQ finish and hold on. Is it the start round 2? Yeah, and then the start round 3 bet. Yeah, see, sorry, unfortunately, your picks cannot be parlayed.
Interesting. Okay.
It's so lame. But the fight to start round 3, the no is plus that I said before, plus 125. The exact method of victory being KO TKO is minus 400. Obviously, on the show, we're going to go with the value play. And that is going to be the plus 125 fight to not start round 3. I think Conor Max, either way, gets done in round 1 or 2.
Yeah, that I can agree with.
Actually, if you don't mind, I want to see something.
Sure.
I want to see is it Fight Line? Something on like the group betting. Oh, round.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There it is.
Round props. Because oh no, it's not there either. Is it fight props? No, it's not fight props. Fight parlays.
What are you looking for specifically?
Oh no, group of rounds. You have to pick a fighter to win.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay, so actually, hold on a minute here. Fights is Max Holloway to win in rounds 1, 2 is plus 225. Now, let me go back to the popular. Can I take this off and then do the minus 400 knockout thing?
You should be able.
No, I can't. This is lame, DraftKings. Come on.
That is lame. That is so lame.
I really can't. But even though this is better value, Max to win in round 1, 2 plus 225, like I said, I'm going to give the McGregor fans a little bone. So what I'm going to do again, fight to start round 3 being no plus 125, best bet for the main event. My other best bet, Royval versus Kavanaugh. I think whoever wins that fight, I think this one goes the distance.
I could see it.
I'm going to take the fight to go the distance at minus 150. And if I had to do a Zan, you'll be entertained by this one. Hold on, let me get into the sound effects. Royval versus Kavanaugh to go the distance minus 150. Lock of the week.
Lock of the week. That's awesome.
I think that's
awesome.
Lock of the week.
So I'm just curious, will you actually put this in as a legitimate parlay later on, or is this just what you would hypothetically do?
Probably a hypothetical, although maybe I will later. Let's see. We'll see how I'm feeling closer to the event start time.
Okay, is your Deadspin best bets out?
Yes, and that's what I'm reading off of.
Excellent. Okay.
Actually, I don't think it went out on social. I know it went out on the website. I don't think it went out on social media, Justin.
That's probably why I didn't initially see it. That's why I was curious.
All right, so I'm reading. So, bet number 1, fight not Conor versus Max, not to start round 3. Royval versus Kavanaugh, fight to end via decision. And by the way, the minus 150 odds at the time of publication on Deadspin, DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, and BetMGM all had the same odds.
No way. That is wild. You usually do not see that.
So you know what? Good. I'm making that my lock of the week then. Minus 150. Fight to go the distance. And then my third, like I said, Riley versus Kamaka. I think it's going to be an absolutely fun fight. I think Riley's the better all-around prospect, obviously, but Kamaka's the tough guy. So I'm going to go Riley by decision, and that's going to be plus 130.
Okay.
So 3-pick parlay, that is plus 762. If I put $5 on that, that's a $43 win. If I put 10, that's a $86 win.
Okay, I actually have a 6-leg parlay for mine.
Oh God, okay. Is anything on my parlay what you're doing, or should I clear everything?
You clear everything out.
Oh God, okay. Oh Zan, what are you doing to me?
All right, so we're gonna go Alessandro Costa money line to start. Okay?
All right, I agree with that one. Let me see. Let me see on my MMA news piece. What did I do for that? Costa Durden. I had Costa by knockout or TKO.
Okay. We're gonna do Whitaker versus Krylov to start round 3.
As a yes?
Yes, a yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, not winning round. To start round 3. Yes, that's minus 140.
Mm-hmm.
And Costa money line is minus 225, by the way.
We're gonna go Gable Stevenson by first round knockout.
Oh, you're gonna do the lock one that I said before. The See, I would have put that in my best bets on Deadspin, but still minus 200. Still, not great value, at least compared to something like Riley to win by decision.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me go. Where is it? Round props. No, where's fight props? Fight part. Where is this thing? Gable. Yeah, help me out here. I don't know where I'm going.
You're gonna go to let's see, go to fight parlays, I think.
No, it wasn't there when I looked.
Yeah, I guess.
No,
that didn't work either. Okay.
Oh, round and method of victory. There it is. Okay, Gable to win by round. There you go. I'm like, we just saw it there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go.
Then for the final 3 legs, it's going to be Benoit Saint Denis versus Paddy Pimblett, not to go the distance.
To not go the distance. Okay. Fight to not go the distance. No, that's minus 220.
And then we're gonna do Max versus Conor, and that's gonna be Max Holloway to win in round 1 or round 2 by knockout.
Oh, you're gonna go with that. Okay, so hold on. So where is it? I just saw Max Holloway to win in rounds 1 to 2. That's plus 225. And then your last one's Max by knockout.
Yeah.
Max by knockout is minus 135. Zan, they're not even gonna let you do it on a 6-legger.
Wow. Okay. So I can switch it up. I don't mind switching it up.
Okay. I recommend taking out the Max by knockout just because Max round 1, 2 plus 225. That's good value.
I think so. What if we did the over?
Oh, the over 2.5
or the under 2.5 rounds.
Under 2.5 minus 110. Let's see. Nope. You can't pick another. You can only do one bet a fight, I guess.
Wow. Okay. All right. So let's go with the let's think here. Let's go with the Tracy Cortez Wayne Kwong fight, and let's have that fight to go the distance as a yes.
Fight goes the distance. Yes, that's minus 245. Not great value, but all right. Your 6-pick parlay is plus 2,372.
Mm-hmm.
How much theoretically would you put on this?
If I were to bet on it, I'd probably put down like maybe $15 on it.
Okay. Payout would be $370, a little less than $371.
That's not bad. I wouldn't do this, but for someone with a hypothetical who would want to put like $100 on it, how much would they win?
$2,472.50.
Damn. Okay. Okay. But yeah, that would be my hypothetical 6-leg parlay. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So if we were to take our best bets and put it together, let's see. I'll agree with you. If we did a theoretical one together, I guess we would.
Yeah. What would we do in this case?
Okay, we would only be able to do one of our Max Conor plays. I'll pick yours just because of the value.
Okay.
Tracy Cortez versus Conway to go the distance. I'll keep that. I'll take out the BSD one just because I'm not sure on that one. I
That's-
think
that's
BSD
fine.
will win, but still, let's keep the Gable-Stevenson one. Whitaker Krylov to fight to start round 3. Yes, because I have that fight going to distance either way.
Yep.
So I'll agree with you. Costa money line, sure. I completely agree with you on that. And then you know what? Let's go back. Let's do my Luke Riley by decision.
Okay.
Luke Riley by decision plus 130. And then let's do Royval versus Kavanaugh to go the distance. 7-pick parlay plus 64.16.
Damn. Okay. All right.
If we put 15 on that, the payout would be $977.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. I guess that's our fun little best bets section. I love doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And shout out to the 274 of you that have stayed on here this entire time. And hopefully you guys are getting geared up for the fights here as they're in about a little under 2 hours. So hopefully you guys are getting excited. There actually is, and no, this is not a sponsored comment, I promise, but Paramount, if you are listening, there is an extended pre-show that's going on right now on CBS Sports Network and Paramount Plus for those who are interested in checking that out. I'm not sure if you knew that or not.
No, but Nick Morganson has left a little nugget in the Fight IQ chat, at least. I don't know about your other. Bo Nickel tweeting out a call out of Gable-Stevenson.
That's interesting.
He says on Twitter, or see, I call it Twitter still sometimes. Gable, I've watched your film. All I'd have, okay. Oh, I see what he's doing. So Alex Buhine, our good friend, did an interview with Gable-Stevenson, and Bo has quote tweeted it and says, because I guess Gable took a shot at him. I can't hear the audio of this.
Okay.
Bo tweets out, Gable, laughing emoji. I've watched your film. All I'd have to do is let you guess yourself out, like versus Kazar in 2019 or Wyatt in 2025. The blueprint is there. Side note, I think Hokit would knock your ass out.
I would argue that Hogan probably would. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, because Hokit has experience. Gable, this isn't the first UFC fight.
No, it's not. No,
and Hokit's already been in there with some of the best of the heavyweight division. Now, granted, best of the heavyweight division is quite a statement.
It is, but considering his wins are against his two biggest wins are Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis, I'd say that's still pretty solid. I would argue. So,
all right. So there's that. Before we get out of here, we do have there's a programming note. So you are going to see a post-fight show after the card with myself. Then I'm going to get on the air about 7 hours later and do our usual episode of Fight IQ because I'm going to be stepping away from the network for a little bit. But that's the note that I had already that I showed on this past Monday's edition of Fight IQ.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you will just be seeing me on Tough Enough next week for those who are looking.
Yeah, you'll be solo.
It's going to be solo.
I
don't know if I'll be able to do just as good of a job as you, but I will do my best.
It should be the only Tough Enough that I have to miss this season.
But I would prefer if I would be able to read at least some comments from you. That would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll probably be just ending or coming back at the point where Tough Enough usually airs. So I could probably chime in at that point.
Okay. Fair enough.
But having said that, quick programming note, your weekend is officially set. Catch Fight IQ this Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss Zen Singer Part 2 of Zain Bando this Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Catch them both right here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/E3 Network to find out more. Yeah, a little switcheroo from Zan and I. I'll be on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. You'll catch Zan in his normal time for Zen Singer Part 2, but on Monday, not Sunday, Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, so the trade-off is one of us gets to sleep and one of us does not. So right. I'm actually excited that I'm the one that gets to sleep, and maybe I'll have to return the favor to you. Well, I'm actually going to have to return the favor to you no matter what, is you're going to be busy in the middle of November with a very special with a very special personal thing that you have going on. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to return the favor to you then for sure.
Yeah,
So,
really big family events that I can't really miss. So,
huge.
when it's time for the November UFC card, Zain, you might be doing everything I'm doing this weekend by yourself.
Probably, which is something I haven't done in a couple of years, but I think I could strap myself in for it. So
good. You
for
might
sure.
have to anyway. We don't have a lot of MMA people at this network, unfortunately.
We used to have 4, and now it's down to 2, which I think
Original, by the way.
which I think is divine intervention. That's how that's how it was supposed to always happen. But nonetheless, I'll let you do the honors for all of this in the outro and so much more. Shout out to all of you lunatics and your 280 you guys walking in with us a few hours before the fights. You guys are phenomenal, and hopefully you guys have something fun planned tonight for the card, regardless of where you're watching it, and hopefully you got some last minute insights that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. So
absolutely. So thank you all for tuning into this special edition of Fight IQ, the Puncher's Chance. Zain, thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified of everything here at the ETB Network. My shows, Zain shows, so much more. Make sure to go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Shout out to all of you who are watching on X. Hit like, hit quote post, hit repost, but then come over to our YouTube home, youtube.com here. And then, of course, make sure to follow us on social media at FightIQ ETB, at Bando's Breakdowns, at ETB Network, at Thomas J. Albano, and at Zain Bando 99. So enjoy the fights, everybody. And remember, gamble responsibly. Stay smart.
Gamble responsibly for sure. And if you need websites of choice, please be sure to check out MMA News or MMA Knockout on Sports Illustrated, as Tom and myself at our respective sites will have everything you need to know. And it's been all night and in the hours following UFC 329. It's going to be locked and loaded coverage everywhere, which means both you or I probably won't be able to sleep as much as we'd like, but that's what a Conor McGregor fight day is, I guess, and it's been 5 years to where
we haven't had to say Conor McGregor fight week or fight night in 5 years.
I have to, it almost feels like I have to still take a little bit of time to decompress and strap in before the night really gets going. But thanks again for tuning in, everyone. We really appreciate you. I will see you Monday. He will be back tomorrow, and enjoy the fights tonight. And everyone have a good one.
Take care, everybody. Enjoy the fights tonight. We'll see you later.
Take care. Cheers.